All right, how do you gear up your aggressive dog for a field trip that she's probably going to feel a little concerned about, maybe a little tense, on edge? How do you gear that kind of dog up? The one that's fearful of everything, anxious of the unfamiliar, for an experience outside of your home, so that you can continue to expose her to real world scenarios that help desensitize her to the big world out there and help her realize that the world isn't out to get you. So let me show you. When anxiety or arousal or overexcitement tends to be your dog's worst enemy, you always want to keep that in mind. So we control excitement by blocking it. So the first thing I'm going to keep in mind is I'm not going to jazz my dog up and get her all riled up for a trip, because that's just going to set me and her up to fail. So I keep my emotions incredibly neutral. I show no emotion whatsoever in the gearing up phase. First step in squashing arousal is your crate. So your dog isn't allowed to barge out. If she does, she gets corrected for it with the crate door in her face. Good girl. Come. Sit. Good. Good girl. Good. Let's go. Second line of defense, thresholds. So at this doorway, she's going to sit here. She's going to sit at the gate through the kitchen. She's going to sit at the front door. And then she's going to sit at the tailgate of my Jeep and wait for permission at each one of those thresholds for me to give her the okay to move forward. This keeps her excitement low as well. Let's go. Come. Sit. Good. Good girl. Good. Sit. Good girl, Benny. Good girl, Mama. Good. Okay. Up. Good girl. Down. Now she's got to hold this downstay for our entire car ride. On top of all of that, Benny holds it down with her chin on the ground for the entire car ride. If she's up and alert, looking out the windows, she starts worrying about what's happening around her instead of just focusing on the command that she's been given and lessening her excitement from starting to bubble to the surface. So she lifts her head up. I have my rear view mirror facing her so that I can see her while I'm driving. If she lifts her head up, I use low e-collar taps, like right now. Benny, down. A 10 out of 100 to get her to lay her head back down. She doesn't need to be concerned about anything other than me, the command she's been given, and what we're about to do. Okay? So we got to keep this girl's excitement at a minimum. Otherwise, we'll be chasing the explosion that could potentially happen, because I just brought her to a dog park and there are a ton of dogs running around. So she's gonna have to work through all of that from the outside, of course. The biggest takeaway from all of this is you need to control your dog's excitement, arousal, any whining, any stress, anxiety related behavior is swiftly corrected and controlled so that it doesn't manifest into something much larger. Okay, here we go. She's staying right beside me. If she shows any signs of reactivity at all, she will be quickly corrected. She's obviously nervous, tail tucked. She sees these dogs. rather avoid than engage. But no. Good girl. Good. Sit. Benny. Sit. Down. Down. So I just corrected her there. And now we're going to get her to lay her chin completely down. Down. And I just used a 13 out of 100. Down. Good. Good girl. Good. And now we're just going to sit here and watch. Down. Good. Now that we're both sweaty pigs, we had a really good experience because of all of those tiny little steps that a lot of us overlook. Jazzing our dogs up when we go to grab the leash, jazzing them up when we grab our keys, letting them barge out of the crate, letting them be overly amped up at the door before you even head out of the house, letting them scan and look out the windows inside your car. All of that stuff stacks and loads to create the monster that you have and the dog that you can't take anywhere because she's out of control. So when you control all those tiny little moments, you have an adventure like this, something that is, trigger-centric for sure. There's a ton of strange dogs. There's strangers everywhere, skateboarders, bicyclists, joggers, a ton of dogs, and they're, some of them are getting into fights, so we can hear that into the distance. But because we capped all of her arousal prior to this, we had very little to work through. When we initially came onto the setting, her hackles went up. She was nervous. She was excited. I corrected her. Everything worked out. I put her into a down, made her put her head on the ground, and everything was golden from that point forward. Then we just worked through our recall around the chaos that was behind the fence, and then worked on our heel. And now we're done. And that's it.